Welcome, fellow game enjoyers. My name's Tacaro, and today I'd like to talk to you about Sentry, a new game by Fireblade Software that should be heading into early access when this video goes live on the 25th of March, 2024. Welcome. So, Sentry is it's an action FPS tower defense. Something that we've seen before, but there haven't been very many that I know of that have come out recently. And this one's pretty darn good, I would say. I played the demo in the Next Fest that happened potentially about a year ago, and to be quite honest with you guys, I wasn't entirely impressed. But it seems like the devs have put in a lot of work since then, and the game is really shaping up. And I think it's got quite a bit of potential. So I'd like to show you guys that today. If after watching this you'd like to potentially see the game for yourself, pick it up yourself, at least take a look at the store page, I should have a link in the description of this video, so you can click there, go take a look if you'd like. It's entering early access, so there's plans for many updates to come in the next 9 to 12 months, and it's coming in at a starting price of $19.99 with a 10% launch discount. That's in USD, so not sure. Your mileage may vary if it's regional equivalent stuff. But yeah, without further ado, let's just hop right in and I'll show you guys what Sentry is all about. Currently, it appears that the game is solely consisting of a campaign mode for the time. There are plans to add both co-op, hopefully to the campaign, because I think that'd be great. But co-op as well as some endless/challenge modes to the game, which I think would be a good way to beef it out. But I'm primarily interested in the campaign mode. I did not realize when I played the demo a while back that that was what they were planning to do with the game, and I think what they're working on here is pretty sweet. So let's hop right in. So we're in the middle of a run right now. It's not looking too hot, so we might get to see what happens when you fail. I believe, oh, I did not mean to go that way. Whoops. Gotta be careful where you click. I believe when you fail the campaign, you end up starting over, but you keep a lot of the meta progression stuff that you've unlocked. I believe you keep your blueprints, which are your weapons, deployables, and gear that you can take into missions. I'm not sure if the upgrades that you make to each of them carry over, though. That's a little interesting aspect that I didn't realize was going into the game, but I personally like quite a bit. Every piece of equipment or gear can be upgraded, and it's got just a single tree that's linear, but there's some pretty interesting stuff that gets added to the weapons and your traps depending on the upgrade path. So for instance, this traction pad, which is your classic just slow panel on the ground, it's got various upgrades including a reduction in cost, increased slow, but the final node here makes it so that the slow actually persists after they've left the pad, which can be incredibly useful because it's not super easy to place these pads everywhere, and a lot of the time some of the choke points are on stairs and these can only be placed on flat surfaces. So I think that persistent slow would be quite useful. Haven't unlocked that yet though. But yeah, so we'll just hop on in. The tactical map here is where the campaign takes place. We are on a ship, Earth has fallen, and we are making a valiant tactical retreat away from the alien threat. But they're after us. So you are commanding a ship, you have a number of crew members, and you can pick up additional crew members which serve as lives. I believe if you run out of crew, haven't found this out yet, but I believe if you run out of crew or lives, your run ends. And if your central processing unit here is destroyed, that is also run ending as well. Mine's got about 1% HP left, so we're not looking great. But when you are attacked by alien vessels, they will attempt to get to your central processing unit through one of these 4 external subsystems. And you will defend those, and as you defend them, they will take damage. The pit here has lost a bit of HP, as you can see. You can repair them, including ones that have been completely destroyed, but it is quite expensive. And as they fall, the enemy that are boarding will get closer and closer to your central processing unit, and if they get there, then they can do permanent damage to your ship. So we're not looking too hot, but we'll get there. I think what we'll start with is we will repair this fuel exchange. So we'll get that there. So we'll at least have one buffer here. the enemy tries to enter from engineering, prior to this, they would have gone straight to the central processing core. So at least now they'll have to go through one map prior to that. Get a chance to stop them. And I think we'll just continue on. Well, let's see. We've got a homing missile coming in. Destroys cores. So I'm guessing we want to avoid that. While we're fighting these, enemies on the map that are pursuing you will continue to take turns. So I think we should try to get into a fight as quickly as we can. It'd be nice to be able to pick up this crew stasis pod as well, but we'll see if we can do that. The other thing I wanted to mention while we're here on the tactical map is the game does have partial controller support, but currently controllers only work when you're in combat. They do not work on this tactical screen. I'm kind of surprised the devs haven't added that yet. I'm hoping it's something that they get added to the game soon. I don't personally plan to play with a controller, but it feels a little odd to not be able to do an important piece of the game without, switching over to mouse and keyboard. I did try the game on Steam Deck as well, and while the devs say that it should work, I was unable to get the tactical screen to work with the touchscreen controls. Might be a skill issue on my part. I'm not super familiar with the Steam Deck or fiddling around with it to get it to work for games that aren't officially supported, but your mileage may vary, just a heads up. Okay, so we've been attacked from the hallway and engineering by these two ships that we've encountered. Both have gone straight to the second layer of subsystems, and now we have to choose. Do we defend the fuel exchange or the mess hall? Both are at full HP right now. One of them will be taken down here, and we'll have to defend at the central processing unit again. But I think what we'll do is we will go to the mess hall. I believe that was a fairly decent one to defend, so let's give it a shot.
Sentry deploying.
All right. At the beginning of each of these combat sections, you get to define your loadout. At the beginning of the campaign, you start with a very limited selection of stuff. I believe you start with just the pistol, slow pads, and some wall-mounted, turrets. They don't turn. Wall-mounted shooty pods. We'll call them that. Technical term. As you go along, you can find these derelict hulks that you can salvage, and they can give you new weapons, new deployables, and new, I guess they call this utility. I think there's a little bit of strange terminology there going on. I think it's called utility here, but it's gear when you're salvaging. So, yeah, as you go along, you can pick up new stuff. Some pieces of equipment will be more useful in certain levels, such as the repulsor walls, which are great for throwing enemies off of ledges. But unfortunately, some maps do not have ledges to throw enemies off of, so gotta be a little careful there. So I think we could face the enemy down there, but I think every wave has to go through this hallway. So we'll just set up here. Also, if you start a wave early, you do get some additional resources. And the game does not give you a whole lot of time to plan. So I think that is by design. To me, it feels like the game has been designed in a way where they are expecting players to just quickly set up defenses, get the waves going, and just deal with things as they come. You do tend to have not very many waves on each map, which is important because obviously for each of these combat encounters on the map, depending on how many ships have attacked you, you're going to be fighting in 2 or more levels. So if there were a ton of waves, the game would feel pretty sluggish. Soundtrack is fantastic too. Big fan of that. You'll see me being a little bit judicious in my application of force here. Part of that is because you do have ammunition, and you can go and pick up some more at certain supply points, but it's not unlimited, and it can be a little bit of a pain to try to deal with that in the middle of a fight. So I tend to try to not run out of ammo in the middle of combat. That seems like a fair strategy. Okay, let's see here. Boost again. Now that this window's been blown, we can throw some stuff on that wall as well. Get a little crossfire going. Oh. I think this is a new enemy type back there. There's a little doggo. Oh. My exploding pistol bolts got him. I love this pistol. It is fantastic. One of the big complaints I had with the game back when I played the demo was that the gunplay just felt a little off. And I think it's been improved greatly since then. However, one of the things that I have done is I've turned off a lot of the camera shake that the game has by default. The game has a lot of camera shake by default without any player intervention. So I found that to be making it very hard for me to aim. And I think the devs should consider either tuning that down or maybe having some of it off by default, because it felt like it was giving me a little bit of a bad impression of what the gunplay could feel like. Ooh, that was a little close there. Okay, we are almost dead. I should probably get some health packs. It's so good. Well, that was close. A little too close. Hey, hold on. Oh, geez, not good. That's a big guy. That guy's pretty big. Okay. What's he up to? Is he trying to shoot at me? Time to run away. Ooh, okay. Way too close. If we died there, we would have been down to 2 crew members, which for a ship this size probably is not ideal. I'm assuming you'd want at least 3. At least 3 seems like a good number. But as I was saying, I'll show you guys real quick. Over here in the gameplay section of the options, you have just an enormous number of camera shake options. And I've turned off most of them, as well as bob and some strafe tilting and turn tilting, because while they felt kind of good outside of combat, mid-combat, it felt like I was really just struggling to hit anything. The other thing I would mention too right now is that the game does not run the best. I have a pretty beefy computer, not top of the line, but it's usually good for most games, and every now and then, if there's a lot of traps and a lot of enemies on screen, the game does chug a bit. So I'm hoping that they work on optimization a bit, as well as giving us some more graphics options. Right now, really the only thing you can do besides limiting frame rate and changing your resolution is turning off real-time shadows. And I would like to see stuff like reducing the bloom and that sort of thing that's in the game. I believe there's bloom. It feels like bloom. It feels like there's a lot of bloom to me, but maybe my eyes are just sensitive. Regardless, more graphical options would very much not be something I think anybody would shake a stick at. Okay, let's see here. So we got more enemies coming in. I missed out on the 75 credit bonus for not sending that wave in sooner. That's okay. We'll just take our time with this next one. More DACA. That's what we need. The other thing I think is interesting about this title is it is not very well tutorialized, I would say. And I say this, it's a double-edged sword. A lot of games, I feel like, end up with so much tutorial, dialogue, and exposition that it feels like you're just really struggling to get to the gameplay. So I appreciate that the devs have taken a bit of a, I don't know, more play and figure it out as you go approach to it. But I think having at least some tooltips when you hover over things, especially in the tactical view, to figure out how you get more of certain materials and that sort of thing, I think that would help quite a bit. But the game is relatively simplistic in terms of its overall format, so it's not too hard to just learn as you go. Minor complaint, that one. Man. I feel like I've been putting out a couple of negative opinions. We're making a lot of negative points so far, so let me go on to some of the stuff I like, because despite what I've been saying, I do enjoy this game quite a bit. On the plus sides, the combat now in this early access version is very fun. I think the meta progression is also very intriguing. Personally, I sometimes get bored with these action tower defense games, especially when they're focused too much on pure action. But I feel like this one does a great job of incentivizing me to play more. They definitely got me hooked with the meta progression that they have in the game. The other thing I would say too is that the enemy variety seems pretty good. I don't think I've even seen a number of the enemies that they already have available in early access, and from what I've seen from the devs, it looks like they're planning to add more weapons and enemies and gear as part of this early access period, so I'm excited to see where the game goes. I thought it had potential when I played the demo, but I was thinking it would need a lot of work, and it appears that they've been putting in the work, and it certainly feels like there's a lot more going on with the game now that I like. I think getting a slice of this campaign mode is also making me very excited for what's to come. So yeah. If it seems like your kind of thing as well, I would definitely recommend giving the early access a try. The devs seem like good folks, and they seem very passionate about the project. That also reminds me, one thing I meant to mention at the very beginning of the video is the devs did provide me with a key and early access to the early access build. Early access to early access. But I am not being paid for this video. So, full disclosure there. My opinions are my own, but I like to be transparent with you guys, so. There it is. Yeah, the music is fantastic too. The soundtrack is just perfect for this style of game. Alright, as you can see with our kill hallway here, we are getting a little bit of slowdown. Just a tad. Hey, grenade out. These little slug guys are a pain in the butt. Oh, we got a big boy. Oh, we got two big boys. This might be a little tricky. We're also running out of ammo. We're very much out of ammo. Okay, we're gonna have to play back here and hope our traps do a decent amount of the work. So I can't take very many more hits here. Oh, he's right there. He's right there. All right. Hey, but we got him. All right. Good stuff. So at the end of each mission, you head back to your little stasis pods, and you're thrown back in the freezer. Although this time I think we're heading straight to that other subsystem. At the end of each little mission here, you get scored on how many enemies have escaped, so we didn't let any through this time around. You also get more rewards, it appears, depending on your letter grade. Which is interesting. I guess it makes sense that they want to reward good play, but I think if you're struggling, this does make it harder to keep all your subsystems repaired and get your meta progression upgrades done, so interesting choice. Don't think it's bad per se. So now we're gonna head to the central processing unit. Oh. Okay, the homing missile's coming in. But hopefully we'll be able to defend here. We'll see. We do have more stuff here. We could upgrade our... Ooh, I don't know. I would love to upgrade some of our weapons more, but I think we probably want to save stuff to fix our subsystems. I don't think there's any way to get more of these orange resources outside of combat, so if we don't fix one of these, the next ship that comes in towards us from that direction is going to be right at our CPU, so let's just give it a shot.
Sentry deploying.
So again, these maps are static for each of the subunits. Handcrafted and static. Which is nice, because you can get to know the maps, and then you get to start to understand which types of weapons and traps are going to be most effective on specific maps. So I think that's a really nice piece of it as well, to not have everything be totally randomized. Okay, let's see here. This is a tough area to defend because enemies come from both directions and they have multiple points of entry from each of those directions. So I guess I'll just try to filter some of them early here. Is that covering that? Not very well. Well, can't build there, huh? These walls don't want to let me build anything. Alright, they'll probably be walking around that corner that way. So this is decent. Let's send them in. Okay. The animations on these little guys make me laugh. They really got some movement going on. Do we have a guy go down this way? Well, there he is. Oh, well. There we go. Oh, that doesn't look good. Surely they'll be able to put us back together. Start transmission. A Roughneck class vessel has been destroyed. All crew to be considered KIA. The Sentry defense program has retrieved downloads of any previously uploaded combat data for use in the next escape run. The next ship is prepared to make the jump. End of transmission. Alright, well, there goes our run, but let's see how this carries over. So we're going to go and launch. This is a great opportunity for me to show you guys the beginning of the game. Nice little cutscene there. Okay, and it looks like we're going through the tutorial area again, which is interesting. Launch completed. Enemy forces analyzed. Optimal escape route calculated. Activated. Not sure where that came from. Mission objective: escape the alien threat and regroup with the fleet. All civilian vessels and crew are enlisted into the Sentry defense program. End of transmission. All right, we got our orders. So let's take a look here. Interesting. So, now we must unlock these items with our research here. At least for the gear. It looks like the weapons that we picked up, well, these were our starting weapons. And we don't have that third deployable, which I must have picked up in that second map. I believe it saves your gear blueprints that you found at the end of each tactical map. Intriguing. Okay. So you do have to spend resources to unlock things again, but you can get access to them much earlier in the campaign. Here we go. We're going to go through some nodes. Get some research. Derelict there. We'll go grab that real quick. So this is a single ship enemy patrol, so we'll be able to defend without losing any subsystems, assuming I don't make any major mistakes. I think I'll do, though, first is grab that research, and then we'll roll back here. I'll unlock the explosive grenade as well. Just because I can. Alright, so we're being boarded in the hallway. We'll head over there, and I think what I'll do here is I'm just going to skip ahead to after this fight has been completed so I can show you guys the derelict space fight. Well, actually, there's no fight, it's just a ship. And the ship is derelict, so... Okay, anyways, you guys know what I'm saying. See you in a second. Alright, so here we are. We cleared the ship. Let's take a look at what's in this derelict spacecraft. Weapon cache, deployable cache, research cache. So here you get to choose between what pool you like to pull stuff from. You can check our equipment here. Currently, I'm pretty happy with the assortment of weapons we have. We do have a free... Well... We have some free deployable space and gear space / utility space. Unfortunately, utility / gear is not an option here. We could potentially use some more research that'll allow us to upgrade our current set of weapons more. But another deployable isn't a bad idea either. So let's take a look. See what we get. Okay, so we got the vortex grid, which is what we had last time, but I'm assuming this time we will keep that unlocked if we get to the end of this particular map. This is interesting. I wonder if these are randomized or if there is a set progression system. It might be the case that we receive the same ones until we unlock them. So the same order of progression. I'd assume there is some randomization there, but I could see them wanting to make it a set order as well. So we'll continue on. Grab some research. And the mainframe. Okay. So we'll just hop through this one as well. And then I'll try to show you guys what the end of a map looks like. Alright, one thing I did not display very well so far is all the environmental stuff this game has going on. Oh, and there we go. Certain parts of each map can be activated. I believe most of them are single use. But stuff like glass can be broken, which will suck enemies nearby out into the void. So it's a good oh no type moment button. You can do other things like shooting out panels as well from what I've seen in the trailers. I haven't given that a shot myself yet, so to speak. But I am told that that is something you can do. Get more ammo up here. I'm looking for health. Here we go. Close. Yeah, so we can close these off. Neat. Run up here and grab some HP. And we'll get that started. Okay, I'll see you guys at the end of this map. We'll be back again. Alright, so here we are back in the overworld map. We're gonna head on down this way. We're gonna go and... ooh, that is tempting. That is very tempting. Enemy reinforcements are on their way, though. So I think we'll just continue on. Little crew member here. So we'll grab that. Stasis pod you retrieved has served its purpose, keeping the crew member within safe. It will be added to your ship, ready to be called upon by the Sentry Defense Program. Oh, and look at that. There's the end of the jump gate. Okay, so we can see it from here. Well, actually, guys, I think it's approaching well past 30 minutes at this point, depending on how much of this I edit out. But basically, you get to the end of that. Any blueprints you've picked up during this portion of the game will be unlocked permanently, assuming you can afford to unlock them with your resources at the beginning of your next run. And you continue on until you are able to complete the campaign. Obviously, I can't speak to how long the campaign is, and there's not really any literature out there as to how long it is, seeing as the game's not out yet. But what I will say, guys, is I've been having way more fun with this than I expected I would. Again, I was not super impressed with the combat slice demo that was available during the Next Fest a while back. And I feel like they've made a decent number of improvements to the combat feel, especially if you turn off a lot of the camera shake that the game has by default. But they made a lot of improvements there, and this campaign system that they have going on, at least for me, really is doing it for me. So if you're feeling it as well, please consider giving the game a look on Steam. As always, there's, you know, that nice Steam refund policy if you pick it up and you decide it's really not for you. But I believe the devs are going to be turning this into something pretty special for folks that enjoy action tower defense experiences. So yeah, with all that being said, thank you everybody for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I hope you enjoy your escape from the alien threat if you do decide to pick this game up. Have a good one, everybody. Take care. Bye now.